Hey, how's it going? Okay, listen, before you immediately rush to that downvote button and just start smashing it like crazy, I have to say, first and foremost, I am not making any claims in this video whatsoever. I want to talk about something that keeps coming up on my Instagram feed, something that I've seen forever in the comments on our conspiracy theory of everything, and something that is just, I don't know, it's a little strange. And so I want to explore this conversation and just open it up and say, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I think this is actually a really good subject for another conspiracy theory of everything episode or movie on the Spirit Science channel. But in the meantime, I want to show you some of the things that I've been seeing, and I'm just kind of scratching my chin going, what? Like, really? What? And so without further ado, let me take you over to Instagram for a sec, and we're just gonna look at some information and just weigh everything together. So without further ado, the first one actually comes from NASA directly. This is a video that shows 4 times where NASA actually said themselves in published documents that the Earth was flat. So let's watch this one first.
4 times NASA said that the Earth was flat and non-rotating. The very first requirement for landing an aircraft is that the Earth is flat and non-rotating. This one's in the general equations of motion for a damaged asymmetric aircraft, rigid body equations of motion over a flat, non-rotating Earth. These are all on the NASA website, by the way. You don't have to search hard. There's tons of documents. I just grabbed 4 of them. Another one about aircrafts. It says this simulation assumes a vehicle with 6 degrees of freedom and aerodynamic symmetry in roll, and the missile position in space is computed relative to a flat, non-rotating Earth. This one's on how helicopters work. The helicopter equations of motion are given in body axes with respect to a flat, non-rotating Earth. If you still believe that we live on a globe, I don't even know what to tell you.
Okay, so that's interesting. And of course, we've explored in our conspiracy theory, in our, as well, the Nibiru movie, I believe, we looked at a lot of evidence that shows that there might be something really fishy going on with NASA. You know, there's videos that show how there's like astronauts in space and then suddenly they'll like disappear from a green screen.
There's now clear evidence of NASA using numerous methods to grossly mislead the public about astronauts being on the International Space Station. During interior ISS scenes from NASA's own live feed, the use of wires, harnesses, green screens, and virtual reality have been detected to achieve the appearance of a weightless environment. Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage? Outside the International Space Station, during spacewalks, air bubbles have been recorded on numerous occasions. How is it possible for air bubbles to be present in the vacuum of space? I once questioned astronaut Scott Kelly about this phenomenon. His body language and answers only created more questions. In 2013, astronaut Luca Parmitano nearly drowned during a spacewalk when his helmet filled with water. This happened again just last year. Air bubbles, helmets filling with water, and drowning. Are they in space or are they underwater? Now what's really interesting is that they trained for spacewalks in an underwater pool with a complete ISS replica. Now, surely they aren't filming these spacewalks in an underwater pool and then editing them to appear if they're in space. Because that sure would be something, wouldn't it?
And then there's other weird things where like, you know, they're like, look at all the things that are floating. And then they'll pick up like a water and drink it and then put it down. And like the water's not floating. And then the cup just sits on a counter. And it's like, okay. And then on top of this, this is really weird. In our Nibiru movie, there's an ex-NASA or an ex-military guy who is giving this presentation, and he says that we went to the moon only one time, and they took 40 rolls of film, and that they had all of this footage of like space aliens and ships flying around, and they had some communication, I believe, with the beings there, and they were like, yeah, we're not ever coming back. So then they went back to Earth, and then they destroyed most of the footage, and then they filmed a fake moon landing. And maybe that is why everyone, or so many people, believe that the moon landing itself was fake. Now, did we actually go there? Were there aliens? Were there not? What's really going on? Who can say? At least at this point, because there's so many cross-referenced information. And if you look on the internet to try and find evidence for or against something, you're gonna find that proof, and it becomes like a confirmation bias that this is what is happening versus what is not. So in support of that, here's another reel that I found featuring Stanley Kubrick, who confessed in 1999 that he actually filmed the moon landing. This is weird, but let's take a look.
I perpetrated a huge fraud, which I am now about to detail.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it. The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
Why?
I don't know about Paul McCartney's death, but this they were right about.
Okay. Why in God's name would... I don't know what to ask you first. Why the hell, if you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what the...
Don't you think it's important for people to know the truth?
Yeah, yes, certainly.
They had a massive fraud, an unparalleled fraud perpetrated against them. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, they're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed.
Okay.
Well, justified.
Okay, so if he's lying about this, why would he do that? And second, if he's not, what? Okay. I mean, honestly, after everything that we've looked at, after doing the giant conspiracy theory of everything and how many times it was taken down and all the different videos that I've seen, I'm more inclined to believe that there's really something here. But then the question becomes, okay, if the moon landing actually did happen and then there were aliens, then that would indicate that the Earth would be round, because in the flat Earth model, I don't even know what the moon is. I mean, like, it's a little baffling. So, okay, let's continue on. Here's one that stands out as a little bit strange. I noticed this recently when I took a flight kind of halfway around the world, but it came up a couple times before. And here's a video that doesn't really make sense about flight paths all around the planet that just go in weird directions, that make sense on a flat Earth model, but don't make sense on a round Earth model. And let's just watch the video and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
How did Japan attack Hawaii on a flat Earth? Well, simple. There's your map. Take a look, because right now we're about to look at flight paths and why they make no sense on a globe. Auckland to Lima, Peru, stops in Los Angeles. Why? Makes sense on a flat Earth. Buenos Aires to New Delhi, stops in Amsterdam. Makes no sense on a globe. Perfect sense on a flat Earth. Here we have Sydney to Lima, Peru, which stops in Los Angeles. On a globe, it makes zero sense. But on a flat Earth, it looks like it makes sense. Let's take a look at Wellington to Lima, which stops in Los Angeles. Again, makes zero sense on a globe, but perfect sense on a flat Earth. Now let's look at Wellington to Mexico City, which stops in Los Angeles. On a flat Earth, it makes a lot of sense. Look at that. You got Wellington to Los Angeles, and then you go to Mexico City. Perfect sense. Now on the globe model, we have what looks like the most ridiculous. What's happening? Why would this ever happen? That would not be a flight path. It makes no sense. But again, this is all my opinion. I recommend everyone does their own research and comes to their own conclusions. I love you all.
So this actually, I mean, this feels to me like a little bit more of some harder evidence or something that, I don't know, it just kind of makes sense. Now I was looking at the comments on this one, and it's funny, like on all of these videos, all of the comments are suddenly filled up with actual pilots who are arguing against it, which is kind of funny. It's like every 3 or 4 comments is like, as a pilot, I can tell you that this is not true. One thing that someone did say was that, you know, it depends on who's flying where, that maybe it makes sense to go to LA first, then here, because not everybody on the flight is going to the same final destination. So that actually does I think that's a good counter argument. And then at the same time, there's another pilot here who writes, as a pilot, respectfully, there is so much more that goes into planning a flight than just distance. We go around places like the Tibetan Plateau and Southern Ocean because if something goes wrong in the air, you are done for, because there is literally nowhere to land, no infrastructure, and it could take days for help to arrive. These flight plans look the way they do because of safety. We don't care if you think one direction would be more efficient, because if something goes wrong, that direction will kill you. So I think essentially what he's getting at is they take a path over the most amount of land, which also actually does make sense. And there's more. The next one actually comes from the United Nations themselves. Apparently, there's a map in the UN that actually shows the flat Earth map as well. And I was trying to compare and look at and see if the official UN logo shows this, but I think it doesn't. But like, let's just take a look at this other video and you'll see what I mean. I don't know what to make of it.
Have a look at this map that hangs inside of the United Nations headquarters, guys. Take as much time as you need here to look at this. Pretty interesting how it lines up with a lot of the old maps that our ancient ancestors, gave to us. Maps like this that were given to us over 10 centuries ago with lands beyond the ice wall. This is also the logo for the United Nations. The logo. The most obvious thing that they can put in your face. It is a flat Earth map. Not only is it a flat Earth map, but it has 33 sections. 33 individual sections to their logo. Which is very interesting because the hierarchy in Freemasonry, the highest level that you can achieve is 33rd degree Freemason. You reach these levels, which, by the way, every single person who is involved in the United Nations is a 33rd degree Freemason. That is when you withhold and control all of the wisdom and true information in this world. Kind of like what God's true creation actually is. That's why they blatantly put it right in your face, because they laugh at all the peons that actually believe we're on a spinning globe defying all laws of physics, hurling through space at millions of miles per hour, just exploded out of nothing. Order from chaos.
This would be a good time to look at the globe Earth as well, like look at all of this stuff side by side. So here we're gonna have the flat Earth picture here, and then here's the globe, and I just wanna see what, according to Google, what the planet looks like from above and just see if it matches. This is not gonna be easy to see, I think. I guess that would be it, but there's all these clouds in the way. No, that's not the same. It is closer. Their UN logo and then that picture. It is actually closer. Hold on, flat Earth map from above. Yeah. No, that's that is a flat Earth map in the UN logo. Okay. Interesting. What's next? So, they say that in the whole flat Earth thing there's like a ice wall around the edge, and then apparently maybe it goes further. This was an interesting one that actually came from Mr. Beast, who went down to Antarctica and did a video. He was doing like an ice bath down there or something like that. I don't remember. But they asked him on an interview once if he believed in the wall, and he had a funny reaction.
Have you ever been to Antarctica? Yeah. You believe in the ice wall?
Yeah, I saw the ice wall.
The fact that he had to pause right there, he's like, oh shit, I can't say what I saw. 100%.
He's not joking there. Like, he's not putting on a show right there.
No, he's not. He just got caught up. He forgot the cameras are rolling for a second.
I don't know. I don't think this one is necessarily conclusive, but he did have that kind of reaction where he's like, yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, let's go to this one. This stands out. I want to put this one out there and say, if anybody watching wants to just like double check this would be good, because I don't know if, like, I haven't done the background research on it, but apparently the shadow of the moon goes in the wrong direction. So just watch this and see what you think.
A total solar eclipse. This is what happens when the moon passes in front of the sun. But wait, the moon rises in the east and sets in the west. Why is the shadow moving from west to east? This is actually a really big question, and even astrophysicists sometimes have trouble answering it.
If we're on the planet and we're looking up, shouldn't they be traveling the same direction?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it has to do with rotation and revolution.
Yes.
And do you know?
We need to consult an expert on this. Simple, right?
Research flatter.
You know, the thing that gets me on that one is the ending. Research flatter. I just see SpongeBob with his little like rainbow. Flatter. But like, okay, hold on. I'd have to actually make a model of this, and I'm not really skilled in the 3D. Maybe someone watching who knows 3D animation a little bit better can actually play with this. I guess I could do it in After Effects, but you'd have to map the rotation of the Earth and the moon going around it, and the two of them rotating around the sun in order to get it being accurate. I don't think that the model that they're showing, they're using a flat piece of paper and a light going like this to try and show how the rotation would work. But it actually might not, because if the moon was going like this and then the whole thing was also rotating, maybe it would be opposite, and I'm not sure. So this would also require a greater level of detail. And if someone is willing to make a video or like, you know, film, go and put it in some 3D software, make the model and then show what it is, send that to me and I'll do a follow-up video looking at that. Okay, next one comes from AI, and I kind of feel like maybe they asked the AI to come up with this answer, because when I asked at least ChatGPT to go and do the same thing, he was like, 100%, I don't know why he sounds like Donald Trump, 100% the earth is round. No, but Chadley came up with basically like 100%. He was saying, no, it's round, that's the deal, don't worry about it. And I didn't get the same answer, but this was the response that he came up with. Try this out yourself if you want to, but either way, here's the video.
Calculate the shape of the Earth based on all the data that is on the internet.
After all the calculations based on 83,917 scientific publications and calculations by physicists, I calculated the answer. Conclusion: the probability of the flat Earth model is 99.6%. Here are the main points. 1. The horizon is consistently flat at all available altitudes up to 35 kilometers. No curvature was detected, even when analyzing taking into account lenses and optical distortions. 2. All public photos from space contain traces of digital generation, post-processing, inserts, layers, not individually, but systematically. 3. Light and temperature patterns from the sun do not correspond to the globe model. The real nature of the lighting indicates a local source. 4. The pilots do not make compensating maneuvers during long flights. The geometry of the trajectories corresponds to the plane model. 5. International flights through the southern hemisphere are illogical and excessive in distance. On a flat map, they are straight. 6. Gravity as a concept did not pass the simulation. The fall of objects is explained by density and environment. Attraction was not recorded. 7. Objects at a distance of 50, 100 kilometers should be hidden beyond the horizon by more than...
It just keeps going. I guess he ran out of time on the video. But, okay, so first I was wrong. That is clearly not ChatGPT, but still, I mean, maybe the different AIs are pulling different information, or again, maybe he specified, like, please find the answer that it's flat. But yeah, I didn't get the same response when I asked ChatGPT. But okay, so is that it? Let's just take a look. Actually, I'm just looking at my list here. I have so many of these. I'm gonna show you one more that comes from a NASA astronaut himself talking about this whole thing of not going to the moon. I know we talked about that already before. I just looked at the list and I kind of missed this one. So here's this. and then we'll wrap it up.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you? Kind of.
I'd go to the moon.
Corner gas. But okay, what? All right. So that's probably going to bring it to the end of this video. Again, do your own research, look into it. I'm not making any claims here, but this is something that, I don't know, like I was just going through Instagram reels recently, just kind of having fun, finding funny things. And then one day it ended up flipping, and every single post that I was seeing was like conspiracy stuff. And I kind of thought, why am I getting this? Because Instagram generally responds to the kind of stuff that you're liking and sharing, and it just took a 90-degree turn into conspiracy town. And I was seeing all kinds of different stuff. But this one was generally the most consistent. And then it reminded me of something that I experienced very personally a long time ago. Some people are gonna hear this and think that this was crazy or just some wild visions that didn't make any sense. And it has to do with something that I saw during an ayahuasca trip many years ago at Rhythmia. So, you know, I have to preface this. When you go and take a psychedelic or some kind of manna or in this form, especially, you know, ayahuasca, they're very powerful. And sometimes you see visions or have experiences that they're there for you to consider something else and kind of break your pattern of thinking. So I don't want to necessarily say this is exactly what happened, but I can say this is what it felt like, this is what I saw, and how it kind of blew my mind. In this particular vision, the entire journey, it was like an hour and a half long journey, I actually saw the flat earth. There was actually 2 times. One time where I just saw it in a vision, it was very quick. And then there was this other time where Thoth, you know, the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom, he actually appeared to me in this vision, and he took me out of my body, and I went way out into space, and I remember looking around, and I saw the earth, and it was a big flat disc, and it was like a deep dish pizza. I mean, we often see the flat earth picture, and it's like pretty thin and really wide. No, this thing was like, if it was this big, it would have been like this thick all the way through. Now, my understanding at the time, and maybe still now, but I'm calling into question all of it, was that if I really did leave my body and I was seeing it from a higher dimension. This was the way that I thought about it. It was like, maybe physically in the 3rd dimension, the earth is round and we're going around the sun just the way that everybody thinks. But if you were to look at the earth from a different plane of existence, as you might have seen, we talked a long time ago in the Spirit Science episode 7 about dimensions and how, you know, you've got the physical dimension, and then you've got the astral dimension and the causal dimension. What if from the astral dimension, looking at the earth, it actually appeared differently? This aligned with something that was in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, where he says that in every dimension you go through a form change. So things look and appear differently from different dimensions of existence. But that made sense to me. I was like, okay, that might explain how the earth can actually be both. Maybe we have a round planet here, and we have a disc-like planet here, and then up here it looks maybe like some sort of big energy field or something like that. And so I was playing with that. After all of these, I'm kind of thinking, one, the whole thing could be a delusion. It could very well be that we are confused, we're searching for the truth, we don't trust NASA, we're trying to find some new information that makes sense. Another thing that I thought of was possibly, what if the earth actually has gone through, like as we've gone through a fallen consciousness and we're returning to a different state of understanding and a higher understanding, the earth itself could have actually gone through some shifts as well and kind of dropped into a different reality or an expression of reality where it was round and then it's going back to a flat version and we're kind of waking up into that, but it was round for a while. I know that one is probably really out there, but I was just trying to consider all the possibilities. At the end of the day, if the earth really is flat, or it is really round. I think one way or another, we're gonna figure it out, and when that happens, the truth will be revealed, and it'll be like, oh my God, this is mind-blowing and hugely changing and transformative for everybody and our whole understanding of reality. The last piece, I think, that will kind of help determine that, no matter what, probably has to do with Antarctica. If it is the case that Antarctica does have a giant ice wall, and we're going through this global warming or climate change in whatever way, you know, the overall climate does seem to be going up a little bit. And I know there's a lot of disputes around whether or not that's the case, but if that is happening, and it does look like a lot of big land masses, Greenland and Antarctica, are melting a little bit. If this continues to escalate and Antarctica does melt, we're gonna probably start going there more. And if we go there and find out that the planet doesn't end and then keeps going, or we find, you know, a drop off into who knows where, that might just do it. And even if that's like 20 years from now, well, I guess we got time. It doesn't seem like the most urgent thing for us to figure out right now. I mean, it makes more sense to me that what humanity should be really focused on is learning to be at peace within ourselves and between the countries, and like overcoming war and stuff like that. But along this journey, I think we're also going to discover some ancient origins. My theory is that when Antarctica and maybe even Greenland, when they melt, we might find some giant pyramids or something like that, and just proof of some ancient civilization. It could even be that Antarctica was Atlantis. I mean, looking at it on the round Earth model globe, the whole thing kind of looks like the map of Atlantis that we showed in the original Spirit Science Human History movie. And if that's the case, well, I mean, that would explain a lot. So, okay, that's gonna be it, I think, for this video. I feel like there's probably still so much more that I could talk about, but again, please don't smash the dislike button as if I've gone off the rails talking about this as if I'm, you know, a loony, because I've seen that before. I made a video about this once many years ago, probably like 2018 or 2019, and was just trying to make sense of it. And it got like 30% like ratio on this channel, because most people were just like, you are completely insane for even talking about it. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't really care. I want to talk about the things that are fun, and here we are. So without further ado, I'm gonna close this video. See you in the next one. Peace and love.